Hey, peace and blessings, family, and welcome to Sunday evening sitting with sisters. This is the evening. How you doing, Sister Khadijah?
I'm good. I'm good. Tired. Had a very long weekend, so I'm exhausted. Really, I'm trying to do what Sonya said, just kind of chill for a minute and relax and take a breath. But I'm good. I'm grateful, blessed, and I'm great. How are you, Sonya? I'm so excited to have be talking to you tonight. Like I really, really am.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be with you too because always when I think about sisterhood, it's a matter of not necessarily always it being our blood sister, but you epitomize what good blood sister relationships can look like. But at the same time, what sisterhood in general should be about, and that's supporting and loving on one another. So I am good because of that. And I am taking my time this weekend. As Sister Ro already said, it's like we got to take care of ourselves, and that's what I'm being very, very mindful of. It was a busy weekend, but I pulled back several times and was like, nah, I got to leave early, and I'm okay with that. I'm super okay with that.
Right on, right on. Well, we got a lot of stuff to talk about, but before we really get into it, I have to ask Khadijah. I always ask her this: how was your weekend?
My weekend was eventful. I have my niece, my nephew's over. And I got to see my great niece, but I had my great nephew over and my nephew and my son. So I had boys the whole weekend, and they make me laugh. Boys have a different type of energy, and yeah, they just make me laugh. They so competitive on it, just talking, make anything they do is competitive. Shutting the door first, just everything. So it's hilarious. And I attended some pretty cool events this weekend. Went to 916 Flow Fest, and that was awesome. Um, a very diverse crowd, lots of support. Dr. Flo is just so warm and welcoming, and it was just so good to see the youth out there, elderly, LGBTQI plus, different cultures, Muslims. Everybody was there, so it was awesome to see. It was awesome to see, and we went to another event and supported some musical artists that we knew. So it was a good weekend.
So hold on, real quick. I want to unpack the two events I went with you
I don't
yesterday.
want to go into too much detail.
But
Go
first
ahead.
one was like
Go ahead.
they had a
I'm just
concert with
playing.
a
I'm
lot of
just playing.
artists. I know just a lot of artists. And okay, so the night before I went with Christy to an event. And we went to eat some really good food at this place called it's at the Art Mall 52 something 52.
Okay.
Seasons 52.
Is it what it is?
Season
I think it
52.
is seasons
Yes, yes.
52.
They
Mm-hmm.
crab cakes was slamming. Like first of
Okay.
all, I have not had crab cakes
I
that good
haven't.
since being in Maryland. But also we went to this event and it was like a conscious kind of community. I think they're called conscious assets. I guess these brothers sell real estate. And they were young, kind of Afrocentric. We Africans, even though they some of them look like they could barely be African by hair, but it's okay. You know, they be
Damn, bro.
blacker than the blackest black person. It's just okay. I'm just you got to notice it. You know what I'm saying? That's like saying a
Right.
white person with locks. You'd be like, they had locks, but they was white. Like that's a part of the aesthetics. So
Hmm.
they had a lot of artists in there performing. Again, music. It was very nice crowd, very warm. It was some old people in there. There was an old gentleman who worked for city council, did some poetry, and it was hilarious.
Okay.
Because he's hilarious, period. But then I noticed like some of the artists, there was one sister who did some really good poetry. Her poetry was pretty dope. But when it came to the singing with the brothers, there was a white boy who got on there and rap, and his rap made so much goddamn sense.
Mm.
And the black male artists, their stuff was more like the other stuff. And
Mm.
sometimes I get really bothered when I see other, particularly white people in particular, it could be Latinos, I guess, when they start singing about black women being beautiful with their chocolate skin, and then
Mm.
you hear black
Hmm.
men rapping,
Well,
and it's
into
like this bitch.
detail.
Yeah, and I was like, now what the hell? Because then I went the next day to the event, and the same thing happened again, except for the
Mm.
roster brother was jamming, but it was a white boy who got on the
Import. Shout
stage.
out to Import Passport Music.
Yeah,
That's
he
my
was
dog.
really
Okay, go
good.
ahead. I'm sorry.
But a white boy got on there, and again, he said the same thing. It was a different white dude, and he talked
Wow.
about his rap. You know, his rap was about queens and beautiful women and black women is cocoa skin. And I was like, but then
Hmm.
it was some
Okay.
young brothers who got on there who had locks, and they were talking about bitch this and bitch that, and I
Yeah.
said, I felt like maybe I'm on a different planet. Like maybe time has sped up, and I was absent because now I'm hearing white people do the rap that we used to do when we loved each other. And now I don't know, Khadijah, help me out. Because me and Christy had like a little
Well, let's
debate
ask
about this.
Sonya. Let's ask Sonya what she
Yeah,
think.
You know
That
what
she
that
be
is
got on.
so
If you ain't got on here, listen to us talk.
I'm
Go
right.
sorry.
ahead, sister.
Go ahead.
That is so funny to hear because one of the things that we do know is that across the ages and across it don't matter what place, space, and time, what we do is so magnetic, is so like life giving that everyone wants to
Come
emulate
on.
it. So that's one thing. But it is disheartening when the message, especially that is directed towards us, doesn't come from somebody who looks like us. And
Mm,
I, as a mother of 6 Black boys, I'm always like, I need you to be ever so vigilant about protecting, loving, and just circling around Black women. And words
Mm-hmm.
matter. And so if I don't know who they mamas are, all I know is that the six that I birthed into this world, they bet not be out
Say
there,
that.
doing the things that, because the question I always ask them, would you call your mama, your grandma, or your nini that? Right? Because if
Mm,
that's the case, then we got to have some other conversation. I missed the mark, obviously, if that's the case.
mm,
I
But
know
I
that's
think
right.
that it starts there. And there are too many fractures in our community for that to be one of them when it comes to culture. Like who we are as a people should be celebrated and embraced in a positive way. And we know that there are reasons why it's not. But
Come on.
yeah, that's crazy.
And I'm gonna say for me, it's not very surprising because
Right.
right now in the culture we live in, disrespect of Black women is almost celebrated. And it spreads like wildfire. They get paid
Right.
lots of money to degrade and speak down and think nasty of. Not surprising at all. Now some of these same gentlemen that had some vulgar rude music were the nicest gentlemen when they stepped off the stage.
and that's true.
So nice because I had met them at a prior event, but it's a whole image that they think they have to
Yeah.
represent in order to do that. They don't talk like that to regular people. They
Yeah.
sit out there and mingle, talk regular. None of that came out. Very humble, very nice, not rude. No, so it's just something that I think, like Sonya said, she's instilling her 6 boys. I'm instilling my son. You got to just teach them something different and have expectations and standards for your children. And
Absolutely.
yeah, and you don't have to fit into no image. But it
And
was somebody for everybody.
right. Another thing, I heard an interview recently, I don't know if it was this week or last week, where Meek Mill said that the music industry, so someone who is adamantly interested in and pursuing getting into the music industry, they were saying that the music industry is not interested in us talking about the positive things about us. Like they'll sign somebody else who's doing that, like you all experienced this weekend, who's not
Mm-hmm.
Black and doesn't have our experience, who are celebrating us. They'll sign somebody like that, but they want to know about the worst of the experiences that we've been through. And that's kind of disheartening, especially for those who like, and I say this in kind, in joke, but from the era that I grew up in the neighborhoods that I grew up in, I grew up in Oakland,
Mm-hmm.
in Bushrod neighborhood. It was rough. My sister and I one day had to fight a pack of girls back to back because we was new on the
Mm-hmm.
block. When we got to Sacramento, it was another situation. hmm but I just was like, I don't ever want my lived experience to be so celebrated that it's the only experience, that's the only opportunity that I have. And if the music
Mm-hmm.
industry only sees us that way, that speaks to why the world sees us that way. I mean,
See,
really and truly,
absolutely.
that's the nuts and bolts of it. We need to know how long these arms and these tentacles stretch, and it's all over the world. So when they see us and they say, oh, that was a nice young man, when I'm talking to you on a personal level, but your music reflects something else, I don't think that it
Mm-hmm.
leaves space for those nice young boys who were raised correctly to celebrate and be comfortable in the skin that they've been
Mm-hmm.
raised in. Because I call my sons cupcakes, and I'm proud that I raised some cupcakes who did not have to have the hood experience.
Right on,
I
right on,
know that's right.
right on. We're gonna keep building on that a little bit. Sister Alicia's in the building. Hey sis, Sister Tina McLean's in the building. Of course, our good sister Tasha is in the building. That's all I can see so far. I mean, they gave comments, but for some reason my comments isn't working, so I gotta work on that when I get a chance. Um, I agree with y'all wholeheartedly, but I'll tell you, Sonya, this whole weekend I've been listening to nothing but music from the 1980s, like hip hop.
Okay.
It's a lie with me and Khadijah going in, like I'm listening to Rakim, and I feel like I really want to see more of the fight fighting spirit, not just when somebody do something to us. I want us to have, because what I remember from the 80s is like when Too Short, I'm not a big fan of his music, though I know some of it. He sold stuff out the back of his car. He didn't wait for the industry to break him in, because we know how to do shit underground. We really do know how to do that. And I believe hip hop music could do the same thing. There's great underground artists. That's how some of us know who, what's the guy, Cole, that I like his song that he do all the time.
J. Cole.
J. Cole was an underground artist. So was Kendrick Lamar at one point. Like, like I feel like,
Right now, they have out a group called Earth Gang that is underground that is absolutely amazing. That's on J. Cole's label. They have
yeah,
JID. They have a lot of amazing artists that are very positive. We have local artists, Mr. Lewis. We have a
yeah.
lot of great
Right.
music out here for our people. It's all about what you want to hear and what you absolutely. And Mr.
So
Lewis
yeah,
still hustle his CDs. He
Yeah.
still, he
and
still
he
got his
was out
T-shirt.
there
He is a
yesterday. I think he
bona fide
was.
hustler from back in the So
Yeah,
yeah, I think he's from later
on the
on. But
Friday
we
night he
got
was there, but
brothers
I
out
didn't
here
get a chance to
that's
see him. Yeah, I
yeah.
didn't get a chance to see him perform on Friday night, but he was there because he came up and hugged me. All I'm
hmm
saying is, I
We don't
just
have to sell
believe
our
that
soul for the industry,
you don't
basically.
have
So I
to do
get
that
it.
anymore.
Right.
Maybe
You do
back in
not.
the
It's an
70s.
option. It's an
Yeah, but
option.
I feel like
Right.
you can, because I watch us do the things we absolutely want to do when we going against the grain.
Right.
I just want our brothers to know, like, it's okay to stand, and you may not get the pot, because I think part of that selling out your soul to the industry is you were doing it because same way reason why people sold crack. It wasn't because they was hungry. It's because they
Right.
wanted material possessions, and they was going to do anything to get it. Because I was in the era, I lived it, I worked it,
Right.
and it's like I could that we was hungry. No, you wasn't, because you had already fed yourself 50 times over. You were
Mm-hmm.
trying to get the big bay window, the shoes. You wanted to have the big Doki Zuki train. It wasn't because you were in a survival mode, because you
Right.
had already made enough money to pay your rent for like 10 years.
Yeah.
The
Mhm.
other thing that I thought was interesting yesterday, and then we're going to move on, is that at the first event, they were having samples of stuff. They were selling things too, but they had samples, and they had samples of marijuana. And I thought, when I looked around to the people who had the sampling table, of course, they weren't people who looked like us, even though they were very nice men. And sometimes I don't know how we're moving in the marijuana dispensary business, because that was one of the underground economical tools that Black people had. And I don't know how many of us had the opportunity to be a part of a dispensary, since we was moving it underground. It was an underground economy in the Black
Mm.
community.
Yeah.
And I
It's
always wonder how many of us are own dispensaries.
it's been really unfortunate here, especially California, supposedly, and I use those air quotes very loosely, in the sense that we've been charged with leading the way, or at least we've said people, other states have said California has some very progressive laws around approaching this topic. I still say that there's a lot of inequity in that circle, because it's still they're not
Absolutely.
give they speak the talk of we want to make rectify. They speak the talk of we made this error when it was the war on drugs. They speak the talk of
Mm.
yeah, we incarcerated a lot of folks
Mhm.
for these pursuits, but they have not shown up with making it possible and the pathways easy for Black folks to actually own dispensary. I can only like dispensaries that are growing, maybe two that I'm aware of. Actual storefronts that are selling. I mean, I'm going. I see them out there. I mean, shout out to Mama Sequette, who is Stefan Clark's mother, who has a line of road marijuana joint. I call them joints because I'm old, and I don't know. I've never even smoked, so I don't even know what they call. I don't know the lingo, but I remember my mama smoked joints.
Me
It was
too. I
Okay.
remember the joint
newspaper.
That's
word
It
the
too.
was
right lingo.
I'm aging myself. But
That's
anyway,
all
I
right.
only
That's
know of a few folks who actually have product. And
Mm.
so that's what makes it hard. And I know that there are a couple of people here in Sacramento who are fighting for equity in those spaces. I just haven't seen it come to fruition.
Mm.
Mhm.
Let me ask you this: when you say you've seen because I don't really know what's really going on with the city hall. I probably should, but I've been focusing on my own health. What does those meetings look like when y'all have to talk about equity in the terms of that marijuana? My friends say marijuana. Uh, nobody what you say reefer or weed no more. But
Right.
what do you
I
think
say
it's
Yeah.
we
looking like in those areas?
Right.
it's still a silo. To me, I mean the recently I was at city council and I was saying to myself, oh my God, I'm so glad that the faces have changed, right? So we got some new people that's in there. So you feel like there's some new
Mm-hmm.
spirit and new energy, new perspectives that are in there, but it's still a lot of pushback because when you have a leader, two leaders of an organization, and every city is different, it depends on if the city is a strong mayor or if a city is run by their city manager. Sacramento just happens to be run by their city manager. They don't have a strong mayor. And what that means is the mayor can't, make the final decision. He votes, he or she, they vote just like all the other city council members do. But at the end of the day, the city manager is the one who makes the final decision, which is sometimes unfortunate. But I feel like things are spoken in a silo. Like, it's going out, the information is going out wide, but your message is still so narrow. It's like tunnel vision that folks, if they don't take their tunnel blockers off, they're not going to see the big picture. And if it's not the top 5 priorities of theirs to work on, they really are toning it out.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's good
Absolutely.
to know because sometimes I
Yep.
really don't be knowing what's going on at City Hall, except when somebody asks me about something or
Yeah.
can you come support this measure. But I'm not really sure of what's really was going on. I don't know if City Hall meetings are back to being empty like they used to be before the COVID and everything blew up because I think people were sick and tired of being inside. Because
Yeah.
I don't remember any of these people before COVID. You know what I mean? Unless, something crazy happened. But I just wonder where the oversight is. Like, like where are we in this oversight? Because we still have one black person on that city council.
Yes.
Okay. So and it's a black man, so it's not a black woman. And since we're talking about City Hall, we just gonna jump right into Dr. Flo because that's why. And then we also
Well,
have a black woman named Miss Kim Davies running for District 2. See,
Yeah.
she's a teacher, a vice principal at Grand High School. Like
Okay.
this woman been doing work for
mm-hmm.
years. And
Okay.
so that's another person I mean,
And
she's
we
really
also have
awesome.
Portia Middleton, the mayor of Citrus Heights, who's running for state assembly. So
Yeah.
we have Portia.
There's
There's a
some
lot of
black
black
women
women trying
coming
to make
in.
some strides out here to do some
Yeah.
things.
Yeah, and
Absolutely.
there's some black women that we've seen in action. At least I know I've seen in action with Dr. Flo and definitely Kim Davies. And I feel like if we're good enough to run all these organizations and help people do this and that, I think we should be sitting in those city council seats and the mayor seat.
Absolutely.
I think,
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
it's kind of like if you want the house to run, you may want to get the person who's been making the house run to run the house in title as well.
Yeah.
Not just, arms, legs, feet, you moving all of them.
Right.
Do you know what's going on with Dr. Flo's campaign? What's going
You
on
know,
here?
Dr. Flo has a very, oh my God, just a positive, progressive perspective on how city management should be run. And at the foundation of everything that she not only speaks, because it's one thing to talk about it, but it's another thing to be about it. Um,
Mhm.
the thing about her being about it is that we saw it yesterday. Anyone who went out to 916 Flow Fest yesterday, you saw a
Mhm.
diversity, a litany of folks that represent like every intersection in Sacramento. I think was
Wow.
well represented yesterday. And I think that
Mm-hmm.
I
that's a
agree.
draw that she has, an ability to bring people together at their cross sections and intersections. And I say cross sections because sometimes we get into that thing that's not going to get any of us anywhere when it comes to oppression Olympics. Like my oppression is worse than your oppression. And we ain't, if we dwelling on the oppression, we can't overcome the oppression is my philosophy. But there have been in the last couple of weeks, and we knew this when she put her name on the dotted line and said, I'm doing this as I'm going to be the face of the We Are Power, we are running for mayor campaign.
Mm-hmm.
We knew that the attacks were coming, and it's unfortunate that the attacks are not coming from the people who you would think like Republican people. These are attacks from traditional Sacramento Democratic politicians.
Yeah,
Let's be very clear about
I
this.
figured that.
let's be very clear. The person
I
who
figured that.
spearheaded this recent lawsuit against Dr. Flo is a white man who leads a democratic organization. And so it leaves me to
Wow.
question how you going to attack a democratic platform that Dr. Flo is presenting for the city of Sacramento, which is the capital of the state of California, which is the fourth largest economy in the world. I mean, I tell people that all the time. I want you to let
Wow.
that resonate, because this is
Mm.
a powerful ass place to move and shake in.
Hmm.
And you're going to attack someone who is very progressive and inclusive.
Yes.
Hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, very
I
much
want
so.
people to make it make sense.
Yeah.
They're not going to be able to. They not. That's because it doesn't make no sense. So
No.
that's something they're not going to be able to do. They'll continue to try to throw monkey wrench in the program that she's trying to present to people. But Dr. Flo is definitely the best candidate for mayor. Like you said,
Absolutely.
she's inclusive. She's very inclusive. We got a few comments.
Thank you. I can't see him.
This is Deborah Bellazar said, "Yep, they need more black women and showing them how to run things." Tina McClain said, "Not surprising at all."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I think the Democratic Party need to deal with this racism. We'd be real quick to call Donald Trump a racist, and I'm not a Donald Trump supporter.
Absolutely.
But let me tell you something. I don't really see what he did that was so racist. I mean, he probably said some ignorant shit, but these people have done a lot of things to black people, like they're doing to Dr. Flo. I gave the example last week of when that one sister was running for the head to run be the head of the Democratic Party for California, and they gave it to a white man, and she was
Yes.
way
Way
qualified.
more qualified.
Hmm.
I
Absolutely.
mean, I was done right there. I was like, that's why I can't get with these damn Democrats. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like, they're gonna always ask black people just to continue to be the floor
Yeah.
Hmm.
that they stand
But
on.
make everything work.
Yeah. Like we gotta keep
Hmm.
waiting. We built this country. Why are we still waiting?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So
Well, this gentleman in particular, he is and this is based on what Sacramento be provided in a link that gives like a little bio on who
yes.
he is. You know, I don't know him personally, Mr. Steve, but he's the principal of Forza Communication, a Sacramento, California based strategic communications firm specializing in political and legislative campaigns.
So he a
And
hitman.
he is. They are they're
Wow.
like, so it's like, you know, you have these lobbyists for the various political groups. He's one of those for the Democratic Party. And so you now are attacking a black woman. I mean, not only is it racist, it's very anti-black. And so even with
Hmm.
the Sacramento Bee, the way that they position their article, and I don't think that they realize it, it was very anti-black, the way they
They
presented
realize it.
their article. The title of the article was like, I was like, whoa, what are we doing here? Are we saying that we're in favor of Dr. Flo? You need to be very intentional about the words that you use, especially when we're describing political races that include black
Mm.
folks, because unfortunately, the attack is going to come from all sides, and you don't have to be the forefront of what that attack looks like.
Wow.
Mm.
I'm saying I'm not shocked, but I'm in the wild mode because I
Yeah,
just feel like Dr. Flo is as clean as they gonna come.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
right.
Like,
Yeah. And
like,
that's a
yeah.
refreshing thing, and I think that I think the groundwork that all three of us have done in community and being able to touch people and be heard by folks, and advocate on behalf of folks. I think that Dr. Flo has seen those spaces hurting so badly that she's been able to translate that into a public health crisis. Because at the end of the day, what she does professionally, let's be very clear, she does not need a job. like
Yes.
like if
I
I
said
could
that.
toot the
Mhm.
horn of a black woman, this is where how I toot the horn of a black woman. She does not need a job. So becoming
Mhm.
mayor would not be her number one priority.
Mm-hmm.
She is very well educated. She is a
Mhm.
doctor with doctorate degree behind her name. So respect her when you see her, Dr. Flo. You know,
Come
I
on.
know her personally as one of my Spelman sisters. And so I look at her in a different way. But if you don't know her, she should be Dr. Flo to you. Don't let anything less than come out of your mouth. She has
That's
worked
right.
tirelessly since she transplanted to into this city and making this city her home. This is by choice, not by design or not by I'm forced to be here kind of thing. And
Come
since
on.
she's been here, she has made every effort on a political level, on a social level, on an economic level to make sure that equity is at the forefront of these conversations and that public health is at the forefront of these conversations. And when you intersect those two, I don't think that we can go wrong. And I think that's what people need to be looking at is where is she? Where is the evaluation of what she's presenting wrong? How
Hmm.
will it not help you? I just want to know that because if you're going to go against her, how will her platform not help you? And that's sometimes a question that we don't ask ourselves as we venture into these political conversations and it's time to vote because I'm okay with I'm not going to say I'm okay with, but I'm going to be okay if someone is in political office and they don't cause more harm to me. But I'm not okay if you're in political office and you cause more harm to the person that is most marginalized in community. I'm not okay with
Hmm.
that. So when I look at measures and I look at platforms and I look at people, do they stand for the things that will help the people who are need less than me?
Well, Tasha say that we can vote this man out.
Oh,
I
okay.
didn't know
Most
that. What you mean
definitely.
by that, Tasha? Like, I
Yeah.
mean, what his job is by vote, or is it
That's,
they elected him to be in there?
that's an interesting. I
Yeah.
know that this lawsuit will go away. I have no it will go away. But I think that also that there needs to be a game plan, and I don't think it's Dr. Flo's responsibility
I
um,
agree.
for community to come together and be very clear with this individual about why this is not okay. Um, it's not going. It's leading to other things. I don't know if either of you saw or heard about the incident that one of our dear sisters, April Michelle John, experienced this past weekend, where she was in a restaurant in the Natomas area. A white couple was there having drinks at the bar. They were very inebriated, and the man leaned over to April and said something along the line that he's a Trump supporter, and she rebutted, "That's fine." And he was saying this as if, right, I'm better than you. And then it led
Hmm.
to, so she took her phone out and she started recording because she felt attacked. And he got up out his seat, he flipped her phone and her drink over in her lap. She got up, his wife then got up and hit her twice, and she still didn't go bad on either one of them. And the establishment was, and this is a place that she visits on a regular. So when things like that happen to us in community, it's
Hmm.
bigger than a man, Steve, who runs a political organization that supports the political organization that most
Attack.
black folks attach themselves to. When you then have a restaurant who's trying to calm a situation, but they always go to the black woman and say, calm down, calm down,
Of
calm
course,
down.
because you're the
Get them the
workforce. Of
hell up
course.
out of there and keep me as a patron of your restaurant, because they are, at
Mm.
the end of the day, they are going to have, I mean, again, another opportunity for us, which we always are the ones to take labor on. I posted the information about Dr. Flo and this gentleman, Steve, who is suing her, and I said, I'm challenging the black men in Sacramento, in California. I want to see y'all say so, make a public statement that this is not okay.
Hmm.
I
Have you
haven't
seen that?
I haven't
Have you
seen
seen
a
any?
response or a tag
I
back to
haven't
me.
either. I haven't
And I
either.
tagged a couple of brothers who I know who are in the political spaces. I need y'all to see, these are the things that we need to be very vocal and vigilant
Mm.
about. If we're not
Absolutely.
going to say nothing about support, but what I say from the beginning, I teach my boys to support, love, and protect black women. So we got to do
Hmm.
that in all spaces. And Dr. Flo needs some protection. And I'm looking to black men in Sacramento and California to stand up and make a public statement about why this white man can't come through the Democratic Party. I don't care what your platform is.
That's the
And
same thing he did
Hmm.
to that sister.
right?
Hmm. Yeah.
Yep. And I think for the black men, like you put the challenge out to, it's more than just liking and hearting something. It's
Right.
really literally coming out because we're vocal about a lot of things. This is something we need to be vocal about and then supporting, and we need to be letting it come out right now, not
Yeah.
waiting, not
Not waiting.
right now because she's being attacked right now. So liking and hearting something really ain't it. So if there's any brothers on here, I'll challenge some of y'all on here, that are watching. to make that video, because like Sonya says, a lot of brothers that move in these circles, and it's time to speak up and do something. And
Right.
it's time to show this black woman who's putting her neck on a lot. I've been saying this the whole weekend because I know, you and Rolanda know Dr. Flo very well, and I kept saying she don't even need this headache, to be honest with y'all. Like she
He
don't
does it.
she don't need the job of the mirror. She saw the need for help and she answered the call. And so the community needs to answer the call to have her back.
Yeah.
And
Well, you know
particularly,
that
we're asking the black men to do it.
right
Hold
on.
on. We have a comment down. I'll let you go, Londa.
Go ahead.
Tasha
Yes.
says, if he is elected, I don't think he's running for mayor. Is this person running for mayor? He's not running
No.
for
No,
mayor.
he's elected
Yeah,
for
because
his
Tanya's
job.
saying if
In
he's
his
being
job,
yeah.
the job he has now. Was
Okay.
he elected to that job or?
That's what I don't know. He has a firm that he's the owner of the firm, is what I
Oh
gather.
no, he's
Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, he's
But
just
I, but
somebody
I
like y'all
also
said,
think if we get enough black people to say they will not vote Democrat, if they have people supporting the Democratic Party that are racist, see, act like they Trump supporters, because for some reason Trump, it triggers black people. It don't trigger me.
No.
But some black people get
Mhm.
triggered. It's like saying, I'm a racist, and then we get triggered. It's like this person don't even have no goddamn power, really.
Right.
Let's say stuff like
Mhm.
that. But I feel like we got to start using it, because the Democratic Party cannot run without black people.
Right.
They can't win shit without us. It don't even matter what the number is. We add a certain energy to the party.
Yes.
Donna Brazile was
Mhm.
just on TV saying that Donald Trump is probably going to win because it's an energy that's
Yeah.
that's surrounding him. It's a movement now with
Yeah.
this man. Every time he gets indicted, they're saying, and this is where we as black people got to check our privilege
Yeah.
amongst each other. He was saying
Mhm.
every time this man gets indicted, black people in the hood that's been having all the problems with the justice system
Hmm.
feels like they can relate to Donald Trump
Celebrate.
Oh
being
wow.
railroaded, being targeted,
Wow.
because that's how they see him. Now, black people who claim they the representatives of all the black people, they can't relate to those black people. They don't even depend on those black people to vote.
Right.
We
This is
have
true.
X'd them out a long time ago, but
This is
now they're
true.
back because now they're feeling empowered because they feel like that's their dude,
Yeah.
because they can
Mhm.
relate to where they think he is right now. And he's
Right.
coming out acting a damn fool. I mean, I'm just saying, but
Yeah.
I just feel like the same way we think we was voting for Donald Trump because we were so voting against him because we were so afraid. But you're voting for people, a party that does not want to support you. They
Right.
can't even let Dr. Flo have her fair shot at her chance to
Mhm.
be mayor. I'm
Yeah.
saying you don't have to be a supporter of Dr. Flo, but if you're a black person and you have daughters and mamas and aunts and you want them to have a fair shot, then you make sure Dr. Flo get her fair shot. That's where we're
Absolutely.
connected at. With
Absolutely.
nothing else. I don't
And
care if
this,
you're independent. I don't care if you blow blue, green, yellow, whatever. But you have to, this black woman, we tell black girls all day long, you can be anything you want to be. You
Right.
can be anything. And then we don't defend her when she hits a roadblock.
That's my point. That is my point exactly. When do we stop allowing? When do we stop perpetuating this notion that we should turn the other cheek? Like I first off, I never, we all come from a spirit of that's not the move that we gonna make. But I understand when it's time to walk away from something, and oftentimes when I look at political parties, it's like I'm not looking at voting for a person based on their political allegiance. I'm looking at whatever that platform is that's going to help somebody who has less than me. That's my political position. I'm sticking with it. I'm standing on it. When we talk about people like this guy, they say that this guy has repeatedly been named by Capital Weekly's top 100 ranking by Campaigns and Elections magazine as one of the most influential campaign strategists in California. So this is
mm,
strategically maneuvering through. Before owning his own firm, he was the deputy chief of staff to two history making California assembly speakers, Fabian Nunez and Karen Bass. So he's worked with us. He's worked with black and brown
mhm.
people. Why are you so? I'm
Is
again.
use black and
Why are
brown
you
people.
coming for Dr. Flo though?
Now you coming for Dr. Flo and his
Yep.
communication consulting. Did communication consulting for Assembly Speaker John Perez. So he very much is aware of, they got, y'all know they got the good stereotype about who's a good black and who's the good
Yes.
brown.
Mhm.
Yes.
So if you shake up too much shit, you're not good enough for. I mean, I'm just saying we have to get out of the political norm, the narrative that the Democratic Party is one, the only party for black folks, and two, tooting this horn that because we are a blue state, I say that we are a blue state with a lot of red policies.
Mm.
And we
Mm-hmm.
cannot ignore the fact that we are living in a state that is the fourth largest economy in the world, and we got the highest homelessness in,
Oh,
Come on.
don't get me started on
Yeah.
that
right?
homelessness.
Come on.
It's because of red policies, though, right? When we talk about the war on drugs and the impact that it had on Black communities through the 90s and the 2000s, that's because of red policies. So people who
Mm-hmm.
quote, "Oh, I'm blue, I'm Democrat," no, you not, because every time it comes time to vote on something that matters, you vote on red policies.
I don't
That's
look. I'm
true.
not disagreeing with none of that.
Not
I
at
do
all.
think at the core, Black people, we're probably more conservative than not. Maybe
Absolutely.
in the last 5 to 7 years, we've been kind of like having no kind of, no kind of whatever that is,
Yeah.
conservatism or whatever. But I also
Me.
think more of us think our position is more important than making sure everybody can get to what position you have.
Yeah.
There's no way you're going to tell me 7 out of 10 homes in California is owned by an Asian American. There's no way you can
Mm-hmm.
tell me that something's wrong with that number when we
Right.
have Black people who've been all kind of things, but they haven't not necessarily made sure that the rest of us can get to where they are.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to deal with our own classism, our own colorism, our
Yep.
own we have so many damn isms in the Black community. But yet the only time you see us gathering is when it's always reactionary
Yeah.
to
And
something
that's
that we could have prevented.
And
Most
trauma.
cases, it's always some kind of trauma thing. 40% of homeless in
yeah.
Sacramento are Black women with children. But yet, when they were trying to build that shelter, which is now up on 24th and Florence, we had a lot of people, activists down there against the shelter. Some people who was homeless, if you sleeping on somebody's couch, you are
homeless.
homeless. So you couch
Mm.
surfing, dude.
You
How can you
homeless.
stand up here against
Yeah.
40% of Black women and children who are homeless? Let me tell you something. I went down and did my little testimony on the side of Let's Get This Shelter Up, and I looked across the aisle of people who was against it, and it was a lot of cast of characters. Some who say they are very democratic and they all for all kind of rights for everybody, they mama, except for the homeless people. But you
Right.
damn near homeless yourself.
Right.
Mm. You one
This is
paycheck
this
away
is
from
very
homelessness.
true.
You know what I
And
mean?
the
And some people are couch surfing. Go
yeah,
ahead. Sorry, Sonia. Not to-
no, another layer to that statistic of 40% being, Black women and children is the majority of them are working. And so it's
Mm.
and I always have to share stuff like that
Real
because
talk.
I can't stand this narrative that, the welfare queen being Black, the narrative that, oh, if she's
Mm.
irresponsible, that we not doing what we're supposed to be doing. It's a matter of economics. It's a matter of leveraging equity in this state. Again, the fourth largest economy in the world. There should not be homelessness in this state. This
I
state
agree.
of it
Mm-hmm.
just should
I
not be.
agree.
So when I had one of my good girlfriends say to me just last night, we were at a kickback, and she said some of our city council members were put themselves in danger of going to jail when fighting for the minimum wage here at the state level. And she was like,
Wow.
well, when my state contract come up, when my city union contract come up, I want them to use that same energy. But do you not know that when we're fighting for a state minimum wage, that's going to impact your union contract? So we got to look at big picture, because I need for the unhoused Black women and children who are on the
Mm-hmm.
streets couch surfing, sleeping on floors,
Yep.
sleeping in cars, all of the things. I need for them to be able to make a little bit more money so that they can afford to live here. Like there is a shelter, it's not a shelter. They're calling it there's a lot of mini houses, those small
Tiny
Mm-hmm.
houses,
homes.
tiny
Mm-hmm.
homes on Florin
Mm-hmm.
and Power Inn that they built not this past
Mm-hmm.
summer before last. They haven't put nobody in them tiny homes. They have been built.
Nope.
My
They've
nephew
been there for a while.
worked, worked on building those tiny homes summer before last. They have been sitting empty
What's the holdup?
for a
And
year.
you know, and you know what's so sad? We were just down in LA, and they have so many homeless shelters that were locking it, and they were all people were coming in. They were being utilized. So that's really sad. And I was going to back up to say, 40% of the Black women and children that are homeless is because you cannot be in a one income household and really be afford to live here in the world. And
Right.
other nationalities are made it up. You know, it's the Mexican man with his Mexican wife, the Asian man with his Asian wife.
Their
They're a lot of
grandmama live
single
there.
parents.
Right.
And yeah, the grandmama later, they're a
Yeah,
generation. So some black women out here really by themselves trying to get it done, and they cannot afford to work a job with minimum wage, even a few bucks above minimum wage. I
Right.
know people that's making a lot of money and still they want to live somewhere safe where you can protect your children because you're a
safety.
single parent. You
Yeah,
know, so you want to live somewhere where you feel safe with you and your children, but they make it where it's impossible for that to
Impossible.
happen if you have a one income household.
Yeah.
So that's you know what I mean. I just wanted to throw
right
that in
on.
there. I was
Yeah.
gonna
Khadijah, we
let
got
y'all say
some
what y'all was saying. We
comments.
got a few.
Yeah, go
Yeah,
ahead,
I was
Khadijah.
gonna. I don't want to cut nobody out.
That's right.
Tasha said that means we're gonna go back to Dr. Flo right quick. She said
Right.
that means someone hired him to run a campaign, a counter campaign in the party to organize against her. So somebody that's the threat that Dr. Flo is to
That is the
everyone.
threat.
That's how big of that's how when Sonya was talking about those tentacles that reach out, they know Dr. Flo's tentacles are very long and they are very threatened by it. And someone is paying big bucks for it. Sonya said he was the number one person at the counterattack, whatever. This is a pretty up there man that knows to strategize and know what to do. This is what he does for a living
A
is to take
living.
down people's campaign. So
Yeah.
that is
He's a
a
hitman.
Dr.
We
Flo
want
is
to
a
call him a
huge
hitman.
threat. He's a hitman.
He
So he is a
is.
huge threat. Dr. Flo is a huge threat to the infrastructure that we now have in place in Sacramento, and someone does not want her to be in office. So we got to support her more than anything. Like you said, he is a hitman.
Yeah.
Go ahead,
And the
Sonia.
thing
See the,
about it is her opponents right now are all men. Her opponents right now
Mm,
are all part of the Democratic Party. Her opponents
mm,
right now are two state elected assembly members, Dr. Pan and Kevin McCarty. We have to really and truly look at and peel back the layers of this. She's
yes,
leading
mm-hmm.
over Kevin McCarty right now. And so when I
yes.
read the article, I was like, okay, tell me, did we raise too much money? So you want to say, because I've been at a couple of campaign fundraisers so far since she's put her name in the hat, and I'm like, okay, so what are the procedures? Because see, because they know the game better than we do, and sometimes we
Mm-hmm.
playing catch up, right? It's like we running
Right.
that race, and then we know that there's a pothole coming up, and we trying to strategize on how to get over, under, or around that pothole.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, that's wasting energy because you're not leveraging the playing field for me to even run the race in the first place. So was the question about whether or not too much money was made, and that's a legitimate question for people to ask. But at the same time, what else did she do wrong? Like, what is she not doing to make sure that the Democratic Party is represented in a positive, progressive manner? It's something that y'all been speaking for the past decade, but y'all haven't stepped up to the plate to do. And so I'm just, I'm all, we can talk a good talk, but if our actions don't align with what that talk
Come
is,
on.
then it's like it's a mute subject to me. Like, we do have one black person who's been on the city council for forever, and I smirk when I say that, because at the end of the day, I'm gonna say this very clearly. I cannot say that there's been any policy or measure or program or platform that this person has done to help me, much less someone who has less than me. They
Mm,
represent the pocket area, Green Haven area. There are not a lot of financial economic hardships in that
The
area. That's
area.
old
Yes.
money in this city.
Southland
So,
Park.
like,
Yep. Come on.
I'm just gonna say, what are you doing to help people who look like me and my babies that's coming up?
It ain't enough to be black. I'm gonna tell you that right now.
That
I don't
part.
always
Mm,
vote for black people. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I'm gonna be honest with you. For Londa, I can't stand a black politician because they like tricks. Really, they really are. They just do tricks, and they don't believe in
Ooh,
black people. They don't believe in black people. So for me, standing with Dr. Flo, I must really believe in her ability because
absolutely.
she's not a
She's
politician.
not a politician.
Yeah, she's not a politician at all. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I can get with her. I also know we got to be very honest with with misogyny.
mm-hmm.
You've already been a U.S. senator. Why do you want to be mayor?
Why do you want to come back and
Why?
be mayor?
Why? I'm gonna tell
Why?
you this right now.
Power and control.
I'm a little perturbed with somebody who told somebody else
Mm.
that they could not vote for
Oh
Dr.
yeah.
Flo because they did not give them money to sustain their little business. Not to mention, I will never refer anybody to this person's place again. This is a black woman who
Wow.
says she could not vote for Dr. Flo because Senator Pan has given her money.
Wow.
And the sad part about it, this individual also makes a living off of
Imagery.
our world and our
Yeah.
imagery. You
Yeah.
know, so
Wow.
that's sad that Dr. Flo, this chocolate melanated sister with those beautiful locks flowing through her head and the intelligence that can go against any man up there when do they have mayoral debates like they do presidential debates? Because Dr. Flo will
Right.
probably
Sometimes
tear
they do.
any of them up. But
Pop.
I'm just saying, she's, come on now. But I mean, it's just sad that a black woman would say that and not even give the sister a fair chance. Even if you knew this other man that's running, very well, give her the opportunity to win your vote like you do everybody else. That's just a very cowardly
Yeah.
thing to say.
And
It
the
really
crazy,
shows who you are and who your
yeah,
character is. And I think it's just really effed up, to
Yeah.
do that. I think, so I could never ever refer anybody to this business either. And that was disheartening
yeah,
Yeah.
that for
to
me
hear
too. I
that
think my mouth dropped. I was like,
because of
Wow.
"Woo."
Because I don't
and
know
it's just
any
like
policy that Dr. Pan has done to help us.
Look,
Let
look,
me
they
be
didn't
very
say
clear.
policy. They didn't say
Kevin
Kevin,
policy
McCarthy.
though. They said donation. They didn't the money. They said money. They didn't say policy. So it
and
had
you,
nothing to do with what this person could do for
and
them.
my
It
thing
was
is,
what was done for them individually, not for us as a collective. Although
every
you make money off of the community
right,
that black people live in, you're in a black community. That's where you get all your foot traffic is black folks keeping your business
Wow.
afloat. So it wasn't about anything that he did for us as a people. It was what was he done for her.
the
Go ahead.
individualism though. That's the
Uh huh.
individualism.
That
One
part.
and two. Dr. Pan every year giving me certificates for the men of honor, grandma hands. That don't mean he give my vote. That's his damn
Right.
job.
That's his job. You represent a constituency. Yes. I mean, and so just like that, there's a black woman owned restaurant here in Sacramento who's gotten lots of support and financial help from Kevin McCarthy, and she told him very verbatim to his face, "I cannot, I will not. Dr. Flo has my vote." And so, I
Come
mean,
on.
to me, it's a matter of where do my allegiance is not going to necessarily rely
Come on.
on what you did for me yesterday. I need
Yeah.
to
Come
be
on.
for certain that tomorrow that we as a collective are continue to be lifted. Like I don't want to lift just myself out of a situation. I want to make sure that I can bring some folks with me. And so
Absolutely.
I've done lots of work with Kevin McCarthy. I like him as a politician. He has made a huge strides when it comes to seeing police reform in a different way and writing law with black folks who have been impacted by,
Right on.
right? So I know his heart and his spirit, but my question is, why are you coming back? Why are you lowering? Because you've been very effective at the state level.
Stay
My
there.
expectation is you stay there or you elevate to the
Or go
federal level.
higher.
But you don't come back down and mess up city politics. But again, remember, we're talking about
Mm,
the fourth largest economy in the world. This is the capital of that state. This is
Mhm.
a very, very powerful position, the mayor of Sacramento.
Well,
We
look,
have a
I
couple of
think
comments really quick. Hold on.
yes.
A
Go ahead.
couple of
Yes,
comments.
ma'am.
Bobby Dalton says a few mayoral debates are coming up soon. I think the first one coming up is being held by the local NAACP. So if anybody see that, I'm gonna have to look on their white website. But I would really love to hear that. Yeah,
Yeah.
Dr. Flo, yeah. And Tasha says, go back a little bit. The tiny homes are now up for profit. They are promoting now that if you own a large lot, that you can have tiny homes built on your lot and get paid. Folks will get
That's
Yeah.
true.
paid by the state and the tenant. I just saw this lately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that answers
See,
what we
there's
say
some
why
other
they're
comments
empty.
too. She said that means someone hired him to run a counter
I,
campaign in the
I
party
read that.
against her. You did?
Hmm.
Girl, shit. I'm trying to keep up with
Yeah.
you. Okay,
And
I'm
Yvette
sorry,
Carter
y'all.
said, wow, 40% of black women and children. I had no idea those numbers. Thank you for that information.
Yeah.
Tasha said, amen, sister. And I know which union you are speaking of, too. That's probably
That's
to you. So,
deep.
yeah.
That's deep.
Tina McLean said, I love this forum. I get so much valuable knowledge here. Thank you, Tina.
See, let me just say
Tasha
this.
said, girl,
Okay.
yes. Go
Go
ahead.
ahead,
Bobby
Amy.
said, that's so transactional. Deborah Belazar, you have to know how to play the game. And let me see, we got two more comments. You have to know how to play the game and take their money and your vote for someone that's going to do something for you. Very
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
Hey, look, there's a lot of people who looked us right in the face and said, I really like what you do for me, but I really must vote for this person
Yep.
because for
Mhm.
whatever.
Yeah.
It could be because
Mhm.
they like them.
Absolutely.
And I feel like here's the thing, and I think it's where black people got to get a bit smart. When we say stuff like play the game, and I understand how you said it, every time we play the game by the rules, they change the rules.
They changed the rules on
Yeah.
us.
Let's just be honest, y'all. Quit with that.
But
That's
this
like telling
game is
me
only
if you go
designed.
to college
This
to get
game
a
is only
degree,
designed.
you too can be. And then they change the
But
goddamn
this
rules.
game is only designed for them to win. So you can't
Right.
play their game. That's not going in the game only. This is where you're going to always be the loser. You
Right.
can play hard, you'll have some ups, you'll look good, but you're gonna always be the loser. This
Okay.
game is designed for them to win. So you can't play the game. You
Right.
really gotta do your thing.
I think about the
Right.
sister who helped Joe Biden take Georgia. And what did they tell that fat black woman? And no disrespect, because I'm a fat
Right.
black woman.
Right.
But what
Right.
did they tell her? Look
Hmm.
here, Aunt Jemima, we're
Right.
going to need you to stay in this kitchen in Georgia because we're going to have to pick somebody who's a little bit more like us, not just in skin tone, but
Right.
in policy.
Right.
And they picked this other chick.
Right.
So I'm tired of people telling black folks, well, you know, you're great to do the work. You scrub great floors.
Well,
Love the way you do my floors.
right.
But you just can't run the place.
Well, let's go back to the last election here in Sacramento when Pastor Les was running against my vein.
Oh, shit.
And I mean, so I don't I like to tell the truth. And so this again goes to my challenge to black men, because I know that Sacramento Sister Circle, black women hold it down in this city. And I know every black man in this city who's in these spaces know that folks within Bawapa, Black Sister Circle, listen to you on this platform, other platform. You know, when the election season comes around and Sacramento Sister Circle puts out their response to, right?
I know.
I think that there is some, and prove me wrong, black men in Sacramento. Prove me wrong is all I'm gonna say.
Ooh.
Prove me wrong that y'all don't want no get back, right? Because Dr. Flo is very politically inclined and sits on that board where the voices of those recommendations come from, right? And so I know in that race in particular, that was representing the Meadowview area. I know that there was a recommendation for my vein to be the person, if you were voting and you were listening to Sacramento Sister Circle's recommendations, that was the choice based on the platform, based on what they had done in community.
Yes.
It wasn't a knock
On the school
against,
board.
right. This wasn't a knock against a black man who leads and has been very present in community. This wasn't a knock against him. It was a looking at two resumes and saying, I know you black, but this person has been doing
It's
more
qualified.
for black people in our community. And I love me some Pastor Les. Love me some Pastor Les. But at the end of the day, I have to say, where are we when it comes to taking care of those who have less than us? If you say to yourself, economically, I'm okay. I live in a decent house. I don't feel like I'm going to lose my job. I got medical insurance. I have a vehicle that I can ride. If I'm okay, even if I'm doing that paycheck to paycheck, there are people who can't do that. Go for policies that are going to help them do the things that we can do.
Right on. Right. I think, let me just say this. I think like you have to take care of everybody.
Everybody.
Because even if I got a job and I have a house, it may not be safe for me.
Right.
It just may not be safe. So I feel like, because my thing is, I definitely care about people who have less than me. I care about people who have more than me. I can have the same thing as me. Everybody has to eat.
Absolutely.
Everybody. Not somebody over here got all the food and the people in the next two, because the middle class is disappearing.
Yes.
It's disappearing fast. Some of us just got here and may slide back down to where we were before.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So it's like, wait a minute, you can really help everybody. No disrespect, but we got immigrants here living in El Dorado Hills who are living fabulous. I've been all up in their shit, y'all. And I'm saying that doesn't look right.
No,
that doesn't look right that these people got all these benefits and they have not built America.
No.
They have not struggled in America.
Say that again.
They haven't done any of. How do we have money for them? So we have to pick people that's going to do the right thing. That's going to have those. Look at New York City right now. New York City is struggling because the brilliant mayor of Texas, that was a brilliant move he did by saying, "Oh, y'all want immigrants?
Y'all want this?
Right on up the road." Now Chicago's mad. Now y'all think I'm BSing, but your boy Trump said he would do the fastest mass deportation in history. Yeah. You think people who never thought about immigration before is thinking about it now in New York?
Thinking about it now, hell yeah.
You think they're not thinking about it now? So we got to have those hard conversations.
Yeah.
Because hey, you could be talking about the underserved and be the underserved.
Absolutely.
Immediately.
That's where we're going. Y'all see all these homeless people on the streets ain't just homeless out here. I see homeless encampments everywhere, not hiding
everywhere.
in the back of J.C. Penney's. I'm talking about on the sidewalk at
Yes,
Walmart.
and you can't walk down that sidewalk.
My
This
point.
damn
Sorry, go
Wanda.
ahead,
Okay.
Khadijah.
I'm sorry. This one, Walmart. I'm so sorry. I just Tasha says, wasn't my bank charged?
Charged with what?
Charged
Charged
for
with
what?
what? Can you
She's running
expound
for
on that, ma'am,
re-election.
please?
Yeah, she's running for re-election. And
Oh,
that's another thing.
yeah.
She is mayor pro tem. Please let me
Yeah,
say this. Because I've gotten two people say, is she running for mayor? I said, no.
no,
She's mayor pro tem right now. All the city council members get to be mayor pro tem.
yeah,
But the mayor is still the mayor.
right,
She's running for re-election.
yeah.
She
And
said
I've been to
sexual
her.
harassment. I have never heard that.
I've never heard
I
that.
haven't heard that either.
That would be allegedly, but I've never heard that.
Yeah,
I'm gonna try to
Yeah.
look that up. But I never heard anything about that. I think that could be probably another city council member because we do confuse people.
right,
Unless you got some information I ain't got.
right.
But I know one
Unless
thing,
it's
she's
another
doing a
smear
great. I
campaign,
know
we
she's
don't
doing a
know.
great job. And let me say this: even when she was running for mayor, I had some people come at me because I didn't vote for the dude because he was black.
You mean when
That's
she
all
was
they. That's
running
all they
for
can say to
the
me.
position she's in? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's all they could say to me. But I really think like black folks quit acting like we together because we really not. See, we together when you could call me up and we have a meeting where we sit down at a table because that's what our ancestors did.
right,
That's why when back in the day when somebody would ask you about Jesse Jackson, at least ask my mom, and we was in public, my mom had nothing to say. Like when the man's running for president,
right,
even though
Bobby
she really
Dalton
could not
said.
stand Jesse Jackson, she never said the shit in public,
right.
and that's because we had
Bobby
some
Dalton
kind of
said no. That
camaraderie. Go ahead.
he said no. That was not mine. That was a constitutional officer.
Boom.
So that
So
was
we
Okay.
not
just
my.
we
Yeah, it
dispelled
may
that
have the
myth.
same first name. It may have the
Thank you,
first same name,
Bobby.
but not different.
Thank you
Yeah,
so
thank
much,
you.
Bobby. Thank you. Yeah, but I'm just saying. So I just feel like, as you know, it really gets me. It's this politic of we together, but we don't act like we together.
No,
We
no.
have some black men in this town that are pretty powerful, but they're also running a good old boy network.
That's my point. That's my point. When it comes to a black man, y'all rally. Y'all rally hard in the
We rally
paint.
for you when you ain't worth shit. We still rally for you.
Right. Right. And so that's my exact point. So my challenge, I'm gonna say it again, black men, men in general.
Yeah.
Like I need that's the thing. Like I think about me being a woman in spaces where men are dominant, right? And I'm very vocal about who I am. I'm very astute and aware of the energy that I bring into spaces. I do realize that sometimes my challenge, just by the tone of my voice, the position, sometimes my head do this, sometimes my finger might do this, but and I do realize that that might be intimidating to some people. But I don't want you to think that these things that I've had to position my presence as so that I can be actually heard is a mechanism of why I shouldn't be heard. Right? There's no, to me, there's a false narrative in this ideation of decorum. What is that? Like, when are we going to stop respectability politics? When are you going to stop saying to yourself that it's only about me and men gotta live? So when you said misogynistic, like I'm like that is so it's very true. These are the things that have hindered not just Dr. Flo where she's at right now in this current space and time, but we can talk about Shirley Chisholm, right, running for president of the United States of these Americas, right? We can go back to Fannie Lou when she was like, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired.
God, come on.
This is the game we've always had to play. We win at all costs, but I don't want to win if black men can't look me in my face and be like, I'm with you, sis. I got you, sis. Nobody gonna break this bond, sis. That is
is there still a bond? That's the part of this.
That's the question.
That's the question, and that's the scary part. Because unfortunately, it's probably going to be more white men that show up for Dr. Flo than black men that are in those circles that can really show up and have a voice and really be able to make some noise.
Khadijah.
That are respected here. So and it's just so you hit on so much, and I was just sitting here. It's absolutely ridiculous, and it's unfair that Dr. Flo just taking a big leap and she left out there to hang and ain't no brothers there pushing her up. And we can't expect that, y'all. I'm being honest, and I ain't trying to be this no black man. I got a black husband, I got a black son, I got a black nephew, I got all of that. But I'm
Right.
gonna call a sucker a sucker. Y'all gotta stop being suckers and stand the hell up. And you gotta do more than just be behind closed doors saying how you support Dr. Flo. Especially if you got a black woman who got locks in her hair, I need to see a video. Cause they sure wouldn't let your black ass like with them locks run out. I need to see a video. If you got a wife who
Absolutely.
got big full lips, you need to do a video. Cause they wouldn't
Right.
let your black wife with them beautiful big full lips run for no goddamn mirror. Because right now we getting down to aesthetics. Dr. Fo does not look the normal like anybody they think has some sense and has the ability to run and be mayor. Let's be honest. She
Be
has all
very
the
honest.
credentials, education wise. She has all the experience. She knows what she has the support. She has the financial backing. Y'all not used to somebody black being able to come with those type of funds that quickly. But she don't just rely on black supporters. So let's keep it all the way real. But there are certain black people who have colorism, who have other ideas, and Dr. Fo looks too black. Her lips is too dark. Her lips are too full. Her hair is too thick. Her locks are too long. And that's why a lot of these Negroes are out here quiet because you also fall into that colorism. If she had baby doll hair or wore a goddamn lace front and looked horrible and had a sex scandal, y'all feel like y'all can trust the person. Let's
Right.
keep it real.
Oh,
We got
shit.
priorities jacked up, but Dr. Flo is too clean. She handling business too much. You niggas is such haters, and y'all can't back this black woman who out there putting her neck on the line. She
Yeah.
done been through the fire. She done did her work. She got her doctorate. She's a doctor.
Right.
She don't need this. It's something she's doing for people who may not be able to do things for themselves or be able to have a seat at the table. So I'm gonna go ahead and let y'all talk, but that's just really annoying that Sonya gotta keep telling brothers to step up. And y'all will get together and do all kind of weird shit to support a black man, even if he's a criminal, even if we know he has a bad
Well,
background, even if we know he have children he don't take care of, even if we know he left his wife for a side chick who ain't got shit. We know all kind of black men that have scandals, but we will definitely back his ass up. But this is out here clean record, did everything by the book according to what everybody say. Go to school, get your education, build your career, work for your, give
you
back
did
to
it
your
all.
community. She's checked all the goddamn
All of
boxes.
the
What's
boxes.
the problem, black people?
Right.
What's the
So
problem?
I'm gonna say this, Khadijah. She do have some black men, but they're not the typical black men. Have
Right.
you noticed that? They're
Yes.
like the
Yeah,
black men who may be a little
they stay
different.
out the way.
You
Yeah.
know, they may be immigrants because the one brother who got it back, you know, his people's from Belize.
Yeah.
He's
Mm-hmm.
first generation. There
Yeah.
was some brothers I seen yesterday were kind of like maybe they went to UC Davis and they made
Okay.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like they
They
kind
were,
of
they were, she
nerdy,
had a
kind of
very
maybe
eclectic crew.
natural,
Yeah, the
natural
ones that
brothers.
didn't normally
Very
fit in
Yeah,
certain
eclectic.
spaces. Absolutely.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let me just say there are brothers, but they're not the brothers that they're not the brothers who are likely to get in trouble that will ask us to help them.
Right.
I'm
Yeah.
talking
And
about
And they're not the
those
brothers that
brothers.
go around professing to love black women and be for the people. It's not those brothers either. It's a lot of
either.
people that's for the black people and wear the red, black, and green flags and everything is black this and everything else. Where y'all at? That's who I'm talking to. I'm
That's
not
who
talking
I'm
to the brothers that
talking
That's what
support
I'm
to.
her.
trying to say.
We
Yeah.
That's
appreciate you.
who I'm
But I'm talking
talking
about
to.
all that walk in these circles that have the ability to have a voice in some rooms that some of us can't get into.
Right.
Let's just be real, because a lot of
Very,
Man.
y'all
very
running the
real.
political circles. Y'all been running in them for a while. Like honestly, y'all got the Black Boys Club, which I ain't no good old boys. Y'all ain't got good old boys money. Just the Black Boys Club. That's it. Y'all ain't no good
And
old boys. Y'all ain't got
let me
the
just say
pockets don't
this.
run that deep.
There will be a time. I used to hear old people say this all the time, make me like I didn't understand it. But there would be a time where people will add up what you were able to do when you were able to do it. We love Muhammad Ali because he stood up in the middle of his prime of his life
And said
and
no.
paid dues like a mug.
He paid a hefty
Yeah,
price.
that was the best years of his life that he was off because he stood up on his platform at the time to say, no, I'm not going to go fight the yellow man because that only made no goddamn sense.
Right.
Like I ain't got no freedom at home. And I'm saying some of you were in the prime of your life
Right.
with your little bit of power.
Mhm.
There's going to be a time where people are going to remember where you stood when we were in these battles.
Come on.
Absolutely.
You feel
Absolutely.
And let
me?
me just say this: when you see older people right now who didn't do nothing back in those times to really move our people forward, and these are some of the people that the young people don't respect. I'm gonna be honest. I have old people now that I knew when I was younger, and they did nothing to um, move our
Yep.
race, move black people forward. They did nothing
Y'all
to
did.
pour into our communities. They did nothing to make sure we corrected some wrongs, even in our
Yeah.
behaviors. They
Yeah.
kind of fueled the bullshit in our community. They
Yeah.
kind of fueled the mess up because they didn't get it right, so y'all can't get it right. Those are the people that we see now that ain't really, yeah, they just
Yeah.
here.
So I'm
Yeah.
just saying, I mean, I don't think it'd take much just to stand up. I keep thinking a group of brothers going to do a press conference and be like, we are the black men of Sacramento and we want Dr. Flo to have a fair shot.
I
Like we
want
want
to
to,
see
that's
that.
all I want to see. Huh?
I
That's
want
gonna
to
be
see
beautiful.
that.
Me too. That's all I want to see.
Mhm.
Really. You know, But I just feel like we also got this thing where we feel like if a black man should have that seat, but we already had a black man who had the seat.
Right.
We already had the fool that had the seat.
Absolutely.
And all we got was indivisible.
Right.
But not justice for all.
Right.
Okay. That's the pledge of allegiance. That's all the part we got is indivisible.
Tasha
You got
said,
some comments?
Tasha said there are some that I tagged that hold relationships that are very solid and rich in Sacramento and the Bay Area. We need those who hold these relationships to stand up for the sister. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Tasha said she gonna go get peace. Peace, where you at? LOL. Just can't leave him alone. Yeah, well, listen, I'm not arguing with peace tonight. I no peace,
No, we're
brother,
not
to
doing
you.
it
I
with
hope
this
you're having
brother.
a peaceful evening.
Hey,
Right.
look here. I just
No.
feel like we just got to do better. Like
Yeah.
I'm saying we as a whole, but we know it ain't really we, it's them. Because we is doing our part. That's why
Right.
we here.
Right.
But I feel like we got to get out this safety thing. Because some people worried about their paychecks.
Right.
Some people worried about what their white friends is going to think. Some of us are worried about people who we think are Donald Trump supporters or Democrats who are racist and how they going to treat them. Because this is what I know. When Dr. King was walking around the planet, everybody did not love him.
Oh, they hated him. Black folks
We love
hated
to act
him.
like everybody was rolling with him.
And mess
We
with what
forgot
we
it was
got
a
going
black
on.
woman who stabbed him, who
Right.
she disagreed he was making changes. So I don't know. You know how we do this thing? Like if I was back there with Harry Tubman, you would probably be still sitting on the steps if they allow you to sit on the steps to scrub the steps. Like you would not have been with Harry Tubman running into uncertainty,
Right.
not knowing where you were going.
Right.
So quit acting like you some kind of revolutionary when we know y'all don't do revolutionary stuff.
Right.
Because black people in Sacramento, we should have some different kind of things right now. We bring the energy to the party.
Absolutely.
Everybody know that. That's why they be wanting your vote.
And unfortunately,
enough of us.
And unfortunately, some people are really comfortable on their workstations. And that's the
Right.
modern day plantations. They are very comfortable on workstations. They don't want to, they already, like Sonia said, they already got their benefits. They already got, they set for life according to them. So they don't want to come off those workstations and really do nothing. And that's exactly what we're living in at this moment. That's why, and class, we got to at one point talk about, maybe not tonight, bring Sonia back on. We got to talk about classism amongst black people. That is a big,
that shit.
we got to talk about them. We talk about it all the time, Wanda.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
And I be in places where I get indoors because it'd be white people bringing me in the door.
Right.
It don't be black people.
Absolutely.
They be wanting me like, why you always look so ethnic? Because I'm ethnic.
Because that's what it is.
You know what I mean? Why you look so plastic in the sun outside and your wig lift up? Like, I don't see me asking you that. Or why you feel so comfortable asking me stuff like that? You know what I mean? Like, I just feel like when you tell black people you too black, it's like, do you tell white people that they're too white? I'm pretty sure you don't.
Right.
You be trying to love Cindy when she be calling you a nigga. You be trying to really love her when she be doing stuff to you because you black, but you're going to love her into righteousness, but you're going to question me for being who I am because you don't have the courage to be who you want to be.
Absolutely.
And then going to blame the white man because you being who you are because you want to be safe. But come on, live risque. Roll that blunt up and smoke it like you would do on some dumb shit.
What was you going to say, Sonia? I see you about to chime in.
I was just gonna say that I want to get back to, so y'all remember that spirit that we had in the black community after Stephon Clark died, right? Was murdered. And then there was some dissension within the black community because this group over here was getting this and that person over here was getting that, and the folks that would and it came to a moment where the infighting within our spaces was getting really out of control. I would like to get back to a spirit of how to fix those broken things, because the trauma is always going to be the trauma, but when we don't come together and heal together as a community, we always going to look at each other as the enemy that harmed us, instead of the person that really is holding the coat strings, the little puppet strings, that's telling us that we should be divisive in the first place. I really think we need to revisit some of those conversations, because there are a lot of black folks, brown folks, indigenous, queer folks in this town that are ready to see change happen, but because they've been hurt by the very same black folks, brown folks, indigenous, and queer folks, they want to come together with. And that's going to be, I think, the biggest hindrance when it comes to our vote. I think that there's enough out there to make sure that Flo gets elected, right? I think that there's enough out there to change the trajectory when we talk about homelessness and unhoused populations in this state. But if we are going to really and truly talk about the root of the problem, it's going to require some of us to say, yeah, that trauma was the trauma. It doesn't have to continue to be the thing that propels me into the future.
I agree. I don't think
And
we
I
were ever
think that's
together.
possible. I think that's possible, but it's not going to look like a blanket everyone's together. People
Yeah,
are going to have to find they're going to have to find the groups and people that they can trust and
yeah,
have like-minded ideas and have everything. Unfortunately, every black person is not going to agree on what we all look for because we're
No,
all
absolutely.
in
that ain't
different
never
places in life and
happening.
we all have expectations.
Yeah,
All LGBTQI people are not all in unison on their
right,
thoughts. They all have
right.
different needs and wants. So I think it's possible. I think part of that would be collaborating with those and working with those that do the work, have honesty. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? Because you can't work with people that are just dishonest and will sell you for a dime.
yeah,
That doesn't work, and that's a big part of the political scene and stuff here in
absolutely.
Sacramento. It's about money. People will sell their soul for $1. They don't care who they work with. They don't care what they do. But I don't think it's going to ever be a blanket time or a blanket time where we're going to just everybody going to get along.
Yeah,
Because and that's a sad thing.
it is.
But I think it could be maybe pockets and groups of people that can work together that have the same idea and same like-minded things that they would like to see out of certain areas and
Right
Yeah,
on.
things going on. Go ahead. I'm just
Right
gonna say.
on. No, I was just gonna say white people don't all agree.
right.
I mean,
Yeah,
I know
nobody
white people.
does.
I mean, not personally, but supremacists. I research a lot of their different groups, and they don't like each other.
Right.
But one thing they do have that you can't teach black people this. You have to have it innately in your spirit. I'm not trying to be funny.
Loyalty,
You have to know when to. Black meaning something to you mean you will stand up when nobody's looking.
integrity.
Yeah, so
That's
and
what
that's what I
integrity
think some
is.
of us
Integrity.
we did not grow
Hmm.
up. Some of us did not grow up in back in the day when black folks loved each other. Some of us don't even know what that looks like
Yeah,
because we
yeah,
never seen it. That's what I've learned. Like I grew up. I'm a child of the '70s, '80s. I remember when black folks say, "Hey sister, hey brother." I grew up in that. I'm the type of I see a little black kid do something. I'm like, "Hey, what's going on, baby? What's going on here? Y'all
right,
all right?"
right.
I don't know a lot of black people who do that because they be so afraid. Like,
We are so
ain't
few
my
and far
kids.
between,
Yeah,
right?
ain't my kids. I've heard people say that.
Hmm.
Yeah,
I heard a black man one time that was a teacher, and the teacher he was a substitute, and the teacher was glad that she had a black male that was going to be there on this campus, so elementary, and she said, "That's great because they can see there's a black man that they can connect to." And he said, "Why do I have to be connected to the black boys?"
right. Only
Negro, because you're black.
because you're black, right?
But the fact that he said it like it was an issue, and that's what for me, it could be my travels to Africa. I realized that we're not one people and we're
Yeah,
not all having the same experience. This
we
is
aren't.
not
Hmm.
1865. This
Right.
ain't even 1868. We don't have the same enemies anymore.
This is true.
We don't have the same lifestyle. I want to see more home ownership for black women. I think, yeah, I get the homeless. We're gonna take I say everybody gotta have something. We're gonna take care of y'all. But if people are paying over $2,000 for rent, they should be in home
In a
ownership
home.
that they
Hmm.
Yes.
own. They can gather some equity and then they could pull or draw without. But there's
Yeah.
something wrong when people keep focusing on uh, public housing and Section 8. Why do you want to keep me in that pool? I know 3 to 4
Hmm.
generations who've been on Section 8.
Right.
That's ridiculous. I know
Right.
somebody's been on
Hmm.
Section 8 since 1971.
That's the year I was born. And the shame
Me
about that
too.
is the
That's 50
shame
years.
about is they looking, they making sure that they can pass it on to the next
That's
person.
what
Yes,
I didn't even
yes.
know you could do that. I didn't
You
know you
can
could
do
grandfather in your
that.
Section 8.
I didn't
Girl,
know that.
yes.
I just found that out like 3 years ago. Blew my mind.
Yes.
Hey, Khadijah, I was shocked. I was like, wait a minute. Like, you've been here since how long? But what I'm
Right.
saying is that family should own that house.
Own it. Yes.
It's possible. So that's why I said that middle class part. No, that's got to go back on the
Dwindling.
table.
Right.
That's just got to go because we're not okay. Like, no. I'm not trying to heal somebody else and I need healing.
Right.
That's crazy.
Absolutely.
And we do that. We the race that the plane going down and we putting the mask on everybody and their mama, people who just got here, and we've been here for over 400 years and we have no masks. And we're taking all the fumes, everything. That's
Real talk.
crazy.
Right.
Go ahead, Khadijah.
Now, I was just going to read these two comments and we're going to let Sonya off of here because we've been over here
Okay.
for an hour.
I know.
Tasha says, I agree. This is a much needed conversation. However, we have more conformists versus nonconformists within our community. Blacks are
Ooh,
too scared to step out and have a courageous conversation. They don't want to risk being uncomfortable.
Mm.
That Sister
true.
Belazar said, "My generation and Miss, I think Sister Belazar maybe in her 60s. My generation will raise that way, where we were helping everybody, and as long as you were black, you were there to help one another. But now I don't know what's going on."
Right.
Very
Absolutely
true.
correct. I mean,
Yeah.
I will go out of my way. There are a couple of things that I'll go out of my way, and that's for little black girls who I remember. I mean, I remember running the streets of Oakland, riding the 40 and the 43 from this part of town to that part of town, and could have been in some very dangerous situations. But for not the grace of God, there was a hedge of protection that I had enough streetwise to get out of some situations. I see little black girls around this city. Like I've been approached by black girls who have said, "Ma'am, can you buy me something to eat? I haven't eaten today." And we going
Mhm.
into, if I got something that I can make sure that you eating today, I'm gonna give it to you. I had these two little girls, and I swear they played me, y'all. They played me big time. So this little girl walks up to me. I think we were at 24th and Florin at the African Marketplace, and they was like, the bus hasn't come. Is it possible for you to give me a ride home? It's only like 10 minutes away from here. I was like, come on, sure. Let me give y'all a ride home. So they hop in my car, and I said, give me the address so I can put it in my GPS. Do you know these two little heifers took me all the way into Deep Elk Grove? 30 minutes. I was like, but I took them. And when they
Right.
got out the car,
That's
I was
right.
like, don't you play nobody who looked like me ever again. Be
Again,
honest. But I'm glad that if I was able to get you to a place safely, and if you was in danger, that I want to be able to be in a position. But they took me 30 minutes out my way, and I was not happy.
right?
They played my love.
Thank God for you.
But
But
thank God we didn't
that,
see them on the news. So I thank you for doing that.
Yeah,
right,
and I was
right.
just going
And
to
that's
say
what
to
I'm
back up
always
what
thinking
Sonya,
about.
to back up what she was just saying. I got a call this weekend. I was with you, Londa, about they were at the park having practice, and a 5-year-old black girl was in the park with a boo boo diaper, 5 years old, kind of nonverbal, was trying to fight the people, and the mom was like, "Baby, who you with?" So she's walking through the park trying to find her. So as she called the police, they told her, "We'll get to her. She's not in danger." 5 years old, and the pimp, I said, "Call them back. Tell them it's a little white girl." And I said, "I don't care what you got to
And
tell them.
she's
Tell them
injured.
it's a little white girl. She's in danger. She's injured. I don't give a fuck. Call back." She called back. They was there in minutes. Minutes. So
Wow.
the police came to pick, but it was a 5-year-old little black girl, nonverbal, and she was fighting boo boo diaper in the park. Then she said she was wandering around for a good 5-10 minutes. She's like, "Who is she here with?" Because we haven't. She wasn't there with anybody. So I
Right.
thank God for people like you. Thank God for
That's right.
sisters like the one that stopped this baby, because that could have easily went any kind of way. Those two
Any
girls
kind
could
of
have gotten
way.
apart with somebody. We could have never
Never
seen them
seen them
again.
again.
We would have had, "Please contact me if you see my niece or my daughter." So thank
Right.
God for angels like y'all that step in
Definitely.
right at the right time, because that call about that, we had literally just left that area, like
Wow.
Sure did.
literally, and we was like, "Well, let's turn around," but then the police came, because I was like, "No, they're gonna get this baby. Like something's going,
Right.
we got to find out what's going on, because this baby's 5 years old." So thank God for
Absolutely.
people like y'all. It was, yeah,
Sonia, thank you for joining us tonight. We got to have you back as our political
right.
um
Analyst or something,
analyst. Yeah, yeah.
a
Because
moderator or
we got
something.
look, hey, look, I'm trying to get people together to talk about this presidential election and black folks to openly
Yeah.
look at what our options are, depending on
Yeah.
where you are. Because I
Yeah.
just think
Let
this
me
is
read
people are
these two
dependent on our
comments before we go
stupidity.
off too.
Go ahead, sissy.
Read these two until we go off. Brother Bobby said, "We have to take care of one another. As a Filipino, I have so many black families and individuals in my life that have stepped up to push me forward. I will never forget who have supported me." Tasha Winslow said, "Kids can't even play in the front yard anymore. Now they are no longer building houses with the front yard because of how dangerous it is now. We need to have more open places for our kids to go." And Bobby, thank you so much. And we have a niece, Catherine, she's Filipino, and like that's our
Yeah,
baby. Like we
Yeah.
that's my
been
niece for real.
15 years old. People, she's really like, yeah, that's our, yeah. So we
Yeah,
get it. You
that's like
gotta,
our
that's
blood
my
though.
sister. You
Yeah.
gotta
It
have
is.
you gotta find your community and your tribe. They
You
may
got to
not
find
always
your
look like how you
tribe.
look. You gotta
Yeah.
find your tribe, but that may, we got a little short Filipino. I'm happy I'm taller than her. That's all I'm happy about. Because everybody, now she took the shortest title. Because I'm usually the shortest, so I'm like cool. But that's my baby cat. Shout out to her. She on the 360 360 booth company as well. So y'all need to
Oh,
tap in. But yeah, she's wonderful. So thank you for tuning in. Thank you for all of your information tonight, Bobby. He cleared up. Don't be nothing. My thing ain't got nothing going on. She
right.
doing
Yeah,
what she
I
do.
can't even picture her doing nothing like
She
that.
also, yeah. I was like, wait, hold on, huh? And she's also
Yes.
running for re-election. You said, Rolanda?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yes. Re-election.
Yeah,
District 8. She's done a
yep,
fantastic job.
she has.
yeah.
And she started off
And then
with
one thing I
integrity.
could,
She didn't take that. She didn't take that money from the housing people.
She
That
didn't.
was major.
Yeah,
and one
that's
thing
another
I can
story.
say, I see her supporting. I see her at everything for all people. I don't
Yeah,
just see her with the Asian community. I can truly say I see her
With the
everywhere,
Hmongs,
supporting
yeah.
everybody and helping out money. Giving money and making sure it's about the people that are really, doing good and
absolutely.
trying to do positive things. So I have to say, you know, shout out to her for that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
So
it was
Sonya,
my pleasure, ladies. I'm available. You reach out, let me know when, and if I got it clear on my calendar, I am there. So
thank you
Love
so
it.
much.
Thank
I'll be
you,
in contact with you. We
Sonia.
got a lot of stuff coming down the pipe.
okay.
All right. Love you,
Hmm.
sis.
Love you. Peace,
Bye.
Have
y'all.
have a good week.
You too.
You too. Be safe.
All right, sis. Look, I love having Sonya on here. Uh Tasha said it was my mistake. I apologize, but I knew it was someone.
That's
great,
all right,
great
Tasha.
work to my vein. Yes, 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 yes. We're gonna
You're
run through
still
a couple of
going.
things really quick to get y'all's thoughts
Okay.
on it. So we got like a little list. So we got that cleared up.
We do
Um,
like 15 more minutes, then we'll close y'all
wrap
out
it up.
because
So we're gonna go
it's
kind of fast. So we want to start off with the it's the football team. Now what's going on, Khadijah?
which one, which
This
clip? A lot of football stuff
this
going on.
this this weekend, I gotta let you niggas know.
What?
I said this week on, I gotta
Oh,
let you niggas know.
yeah. So the owner of the bill said if the black players don't like it here, they should go back to Africa and see how bad it is. What y'all
Okay.
think about that? Because my thing was, they've been saying for a while that NFL and NBA, all of that is just a modern day plantation. And so
Yeah,
now
that's
they
what
pay
I
them to do
heard.
certain things and so I mean I'm not surprised that this was said. They've called a lot of these people saying um uh comments like this to players. A lot of them disrespect them and go straight up for their ethnicity. A lot of them do it. Not
Well, look,
surprised.
Khadijah, I think everybody need a nigga wake up call, as we used to call it.
Mhm.
And I think NFL players, NBA players, they are not without flaw.
Mhm.
All of them have not been Magic Johnson. All of them have not. There was the brother in the Bay Area that built a bunch of stuff with his money. Um,
Marshawn Lynch.
yeah, Marshawn Lynch. A lot of them have just been having a party of their life, taking care of them and their homies. So sometimes you got to understand what you're really on. And
Mhm.
I'm very grateful that this white man was being honest about how he really felt in the pit of his spirit. Now the question is, what you
Yeah.
gonna do about it?
Watch what
Football
they say
running
and keep running
person,
that ball.
yeah. So I mean, um, I don't know. What's y'all feelings about what he said? Because I just felt like I didn't really. I wasn't surprised.
Me
What
either.
was the one man? Was he a basketball player that was who said he was tired of the niggas or something like that? And then he tried to backtrack on. I guess he was talking to a woman who was mixed race, and he felt all comfortable to say kind of things to her. And then I guess somebody, she came out and busted him out
Somebody
because that
say
was his
something.
lover or some shit. I don't know, but I
I
don't know. I'm
I
not really
don't even
shocked about this. What about you,
I
Khadijah?
don't even keep I don't keep up with it a whole lot. Yeah, I'm not shocked. I mean, this is the only thing that they heard he that probably got recorded or somebody had proof he said it. It's not the first time though.
I mean, look at
That's
this
why he
man,
felt
y'all.
comfortable saying
He
it.
was there in 1960 when they was water holes in black people.
Tasha said, "I would like to see what the players do." That's what I'm
But
saying. Like, and Tina McClain says, "No surprise here." That's what I said. Like, so what are y'all gonna do?
they
Continue to
gonna keep
pass
running
that
that
ball
ball.
and watch what you say around them? Like,
There you go.
yeah.
And some may invite him over for dinner thinking that he needs to be loved on by black people because we tend to. That's the thing that's different about
Well, he needs
some
to
black
understand our
people.
struggle more.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
always do these things where we increase the love with white people who are racist. But if it's a black person that stepped on your shoe or cuss you out on something stupid, we're going full out war on them.
Hmm.
But I don't know. We just kind of increase. I think that's a part of the chip. What movie was that when they had the chip in Wesley Snipes and Demolition Man, and they throwed him
I
out of the
think so.
freezer, but they had a chip in him where he could not attack the person that throwed him out or whatever. I don't know. The way they treated common capitalists, I didn't see too much of them. They are enjoying the check and the material. That's what I'm saying. They don't care.
Yep.
And I'm like
Mm-mm.
this. If they don't care, I don't care. I don't watch football, so it don't matter for me. I may show up at some house
Straight
and
up.
eat some food. But I don't. I couldn't tell you what team was what team. Maybe I knew who the Cowboys were, but I don't know none of the
I was
players.
about
I
to
just know
say
the
I'm
clothes.
drinking out a Cowboys cup because my son is a fan, and I live in
Yeah,
a house with 2 meals. So
yeah. So, but I know the Raiders, but I don't know the Raiders. You see what I'm saying? Like, because I show up and eat at people's houses, and they be having on their shirts. But other than that,
right,
I feel like, you like it. I love it
I love it. Hmm.
because I don't know this white
What's
man.
the what's the what you got next, Sissy?
Okay, what we got next? We got that. Then we got it's in my tablet. Then we got okay, so we want to talk a little bit about the attack that we're seeing on children. So
Mm.
you talked about in Brooklyn in the daycare,
Specifically, black children.
black children. Okay, so I guess in the Brooklyn
Hmm.
daycare, they had to shut it down, Khadijah?
Yes, because 1-year-old and 3 other children overdose from believe fentanyl overdose, and it's just like what is going on that we're not protecting, watching? Why fentanyl overdose in a daycare center that is approved by the state? This is not somebody's living room. This is a facility. So yeah, fentanyl overdose, 1-year-old and 3 other children. They didn't leave
Wow.
their ages, reveal their ages. Tasha says, Tim McLean said, right, Tasha, if the players don't play, then and only then will there be some accountability. I always say that if all the football players all the black ones walked off the field and no other black players went on, NFL would be over in a little bit. Because I don't care who y'all get, don't nobody play as hard as black men. I don't care how big they are, whatever, black men, yeah, they got it cracking. So, but anyway, back to the fentanyl story.
Yeah.
Yeah, some babies got access to fentanyl in the daycare center and overdosed. And I believe they're still alive, but it's just really sad.
Mm,
So,
mm, mm.
yeah,
So
really
I'm
sad.
looking up on the screen because I'm trying to pull up, and I could have swore I had this video, but I don't know where it went to. There was one where I guess a preschooler man chased him out the classroom and knocked him down, and then carried him back to the class
First, he
upside
grabbed him
down.
by his hair to stop him. He couldn't catch him, so he
Yeah,
grabbed him by his hair to stop him. Then he pushed him down and straddled him, and then he picked him up by his ankle and carried him back to the classroom.
yeah. And
Like
I was going to show
it's
that
just
video.
young black
I do think y'all got to
babies that we
watch it. That
leaving
was
to
a
care
black
of other
child, by
people.
the way, too. So
Hmm.
I just feel like I think our children are under attack. And I feel like we got to pay more. Oh, here's the video. I can't show the video, but I'm just going to show the image. Um, I
And
don't know. I
Tamika
just feel
said
like
there
we got
should
to
be.
go
She
ahead.
said there should be criminal charges. I believe in both cases it should be absolutely because people are entrusting their children in the care of these places and at this daycare and the school, and it's ridiculous that your child go to school and is abused and misharmed and even run the risk of not even coming home. This is how he's
That's,
carrying the child back to the classroom, and it's ridiculous. What are your thoughts, Londa?
I just feel like people got to really love their kids the way they say they love their kids. What do I mean by that? I just feel like we do a lot of lip service on what we say how we feel about our children, but sometimes we leave children in places that are unsafe.
Hmm.
And like if you know how white people treat you, not all white people, of course, but you know that energy I'm talking about, why would you leave your children with them?
Hmm.
There was a picture that was out where two black kids on the side eating all the white kids at the table. I'm pretty sure somebody seen that and never thought, who are they parents and why would you let them go here?
Hmm.
There was a time
Hmm.
once again where people did homeschool. There's all kind of options they have out here now, but it's going to take some sacrificing on the behalf of the parent.
The
Because I'll be
parent,
honest with y'all, these
absolutely.
children will grow up and be adults, and what we put in them as children is what we're seeing when they're adults.
We only plant the seeds to flourish later. So
Yeah,
if we planting seeds that's going to bear rotten fruit, it's going to happen regardless. And there was also something else that I sent you where the father came to the table and there was a
I'll
white
show you.
gentleman sitting at the table with his minor children drinking beer, talking to them. And the father was like, "Who are you? You don't know you're talking to minors. Get up." And he's like, "What am I doing wrong?" And he's like, "No, you're not going to sit at the table with a bunch of minors, ask them about their lives. You're a grown man. Get up." And so he was still trying to be oblivious, but it's just like everywhere we go, it's like black children are not safe anywhere. It's like they're the new throwaway child. and it's, anything's up for, you can do anything to black children and people. I'm so glad this father stood up and said, "Get your ass up. You're not sitting with my minor children asking them no questions. You a grown ass man." And there is some type of public place, so there are other empty tables around. So for him to pick the table all these minor children was very creepy, and the dad made his ass bounce like he had to get up.
I loved it. I
He said you
absolutely
either gonna
loved it.
get up or you're gonna lay down. And I loved it because too often, like you said, people will walk in and something don't seem right. It's never normal for a grown man. I don't care if he black, white, whatever. He should never be sitting with no minors asking them personal questions. He don't know these minors, anything about them. You're a stranger. So I'm glad this
I
dad stepped
agree.
up. He called him a pedo and had his ass get on up, and I loved it. But we have to
Yeah.
protect black children. It's
And,
crazy.
and, and we wanted to show this because we know there are black men like this who still exist who will protect their
Hmm.
children. And I think sometimes we don't know what this man was planning, sitting here drinking a beer with the kids. We don't know if this person was a pedophile.
Hmm.
Would you do that? Would you sit at the table with somebody's kids while you drinking a beer and you don't even know them like that? There was a time you didn't even drink in front of kids.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? So I don't know. I think this moral thing, I'm gonna be honest with you. I think some of this stuff, I'm glad to see this black man stand up, but I think in our need to have things our way, we have let the devil in
Hmm.
because we want a right to do something we know that's wrong. So then we'll let all the wickedness in so you could do one goddamn thing.
So you can
When you
justify
could
your.
have waited and did the shit later when it was
Hmm.
appropriate. Ain't that some shit?
I agree.
Last thing before we wrap up, because y'all be speeding through these things, because we've been on here a good long time. It was so nice to talk to Sister Sonia. She really came and brought it. The last thing I want to talk about, Khadijah, before we hang up, is our dear boy Tyler Perry.
Oh yeah, so you fill me a little bit more on this because I
Okay, so
haven't really been
Tyler
involved
Perry
with it.
did an
But
interview. Hold on, let me see if I can get this up. Hold on, y'all. I'm gonna try to get this up. So give me a minute, family. Give me a minute. Okay, I'm gonna try to get this up while
I
talking
know it
on.
had. Yeah, go
So
ahead.
first of all, I get on the computer today and I got everybody telling me, yo, like everybody's mad at Tyler Perry. I don't know why they mad at
Mm,
Tyler Perry. To be very honest with you, I really don't. I
Yeah.
just don't know. So I'm gonna try to play this. I'm gonna try to get this over and then I'll play it for you and then y'all could tell me what y'all think. So let me get this up. This is our last thing for the evening. So hold the phone, family. Let's see. Is it this one? Is it
I know it
that
has
one?
something to do with black women. If a man can
Well,
only pay a
black,
certain bill, he should be
okay,
able
hold
to.
on. Here we go. Is it playing? Um,
Listen, a lot of women, especially black women, and I
Mhm.
might get in trouble for saying this, but I will. In the in our society right now,
Mhm.
black women are making
Gosh, oh
more
boy.
for the most part than black
Yeah.
men, right? There are a lot of black men who are successful, but for the most part, black women are making the money. So if you can find love, if that man works, at whatever job
Mhm.
and is a good man and is good to you
Mhm.
and honors the house and honors his wife and does what he can
Mhm.
because his gift may not be your gift.
Exactly.
That is okay.
Mhm.
That's not somebody who's beneath you.
Yeah.
That's somebody who came to love you at your worth,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
And
Yes.
as long as he's secure in himself to
Mhm.
know that, yep, she makes most of the money, all I can pay is the light bill. As long as she's comfortable enough to say, I'm going to cover the mortgage and all the other stuff, you handle the light bill, baby, you can take me to dinner every now and then.
Mhm.
That is fine.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Mhm. Yeah.
But that's so hard for a lot of people to take in because that means no, no, no. I need somebody to who is they need to make 5 times more, and I got to have well,
Uh-huh. Keep
go
looking,
on, keep your
girl.
list, baby.
Yeah.
God bless you. Hope it happens. Go on, keep your list. But when you talk about just someone to love you and support you,
Yes.
I know people who have whose men can't touch what they make.
Mhm. Mhm.
But when you see them together, that love, that support, that I got you, babe, it's a
Mhm.
beautiful thing.
okay,
Hmm.
Khadijah's people out there
Yeah.
in Facebook streets. Tasha said, "Oh boy," when I said I was gonna play the video. So, what's your thoughts, Sissy?
Um, I think he's probably correct. I know some women that make a lot more than their mate. And they're very happy, and everybody plays their role, and he's not intimidated by how much he makes. I think he's correct for some women in some circles. Some
Oprah,
people, some
Oprah and
women are.
Stedman.
Yeah, some women are the breadwinners, and they men treat them like queens, and he does with the part that he can do because they're not hurting for money. So a lot of times in relationships, often money is usually the problem. So I guess if we have money and that's not an issue, then what he can bring to the table really doesn't matter. So I guess it's true for some circles, and some women are like, hell no, the man is the provider. I was raised that way. He's supposed to make more, take care of all the bills, and if you don't take care of the bills, we can't be together.
I just
So
think, why
it
can't we
depends.
be 50-50? Like, what the fuck happened to
That
that?
too,
What happened to,
and there's a lot of homes that
50-50?
are like that. There
Yeah.
are a lot of homes that are
I
like that.
just
Yeah.
got a problem with a billionaire telling me about a relationship who always produce stories where it's a bunch of trauma with black people, who never produces stories where he can make the black man be the bomb because he's the writer, he's the owner of the studio. Like, why can't he produce stories where he show the black man the way? All his
Mhm.
whole career has been on the backs of black women. His whole career. Medea. Medea is a gun-toting lover, gun-toting, cuss you out
Granny.
woman, right?
Mhm.
But I just feel like I get so sick of the Tyler Perry-ish dudes. Like, I don't even have he's been in a relationship with a woman who made more than him, and he felt okay with just paying the light bill. In his soul as a man, would he be okay with that? Or even if he was a man with another man, would he be okay with that? Like, I can see if he was coming from a place of where he is, but see, he
Mhm.
would never be in a relationship where he's just paying the light bill. It'd be different if the man paid the light bill, cut the grass, had the house, who was really okay with that. And the other things, people could appear
Yeah,
to look great, but we don't know what people go through at home when the
we
mom
sure
when a
don't.
woman cannot go to work to make that good money, and who's gonna take care of her when she gets sick and she's the breadwinner. See, he left
Mhm.
that part out.
We
Okay,
got a
so
comment from Tasha. She says society is structured this way now. Some black women are making more. The problem is when the black man gets stuck, comfortable, and or does not move to increase, and then there are others who are not. Others who cannot arrive at this place that the woman makes more and competes with the black woman. Yep.
yeah, I just so right now they
Mhm.
going in on him on Facebook right now, and I just felt like sometimes black people love Tyler Perry. We support his films. They go see all his films. Sometimes just say, hey, I'm gonna stay out of that because I'm in no relationship where I pay just the phone bill. So I
Mhm.
really can't speak on that. Love is more than somebody making you feel good. People get an orgasm and feel good. That's about 5, 10, 15 minutes, but you can't go to the
Mhm.
bank with the orgasm and pay your house note. Like, what happens when that breadwinner gets sick and she's dependent on her partner to hold up things because she's not going to be able to work? See, Tyler Perry didn't tell you about that part, So I don't know.
And then
I'd
Tyler
rather
Perry
just
is he's so far removed from everyday black people because being a billionaire, there's no way you know the struggles. I don't care if you were back in the day, what happened to you. We are 2023, totally different times. So I think he talks about and makes movies about what he think is happening and prevalent in the black community. Because I don't know a lot of characters in movies. I don't watch them that much. I
me
don't know
either.
any of those people in real life. And so I think he's now become almost like a white person that does like a white movie studio that just does stuff that's buffoonery and makes us laugh. It's almost like making fun of our all the fucked up shit in our community and then put in the laughing form. So we just think it's normal and we laugh it off and it's very toxic and it's not very
I
good
agree.
imagery of black people.
I would love to see Medea do something where she gets to show her real emotion about how she feel about being loved. Since he brought that up and said, if you're being loved, well, show me where Medea is being loved. Let us see her being vulnerable where she ain't cussing somebody the fuck out. Because most times we cussing
Mhm.
people out because we're not protected. That's why we cuss people out, Mr. Perry. Not because we
Yeah,
want to
yeah.
do it because it's funny. We do it because we're
Hmm.
not protected. We do it because no one's standing up for it. We do it because the person's not paying the light bill. And you have to come up with everything, Deborah. But I'm just saying, he can give all kind of advice, really. Because he may be part of those elites that we may have to be like, let's not support this man no more. Let him go ahead on to the side.
Two
Tasha said
comments and
it.
then we'll wrap
Go
it up.
ahead. All right.
Nisha said it's all about how you were raised, money or no money. Tasha said, instead of telling black women what to do or telling us to continue to adjust, focus on how they can help the black man. Too many black men are speaking to black women when they have not lived our experience. Yeah, that's Tyler Perry since he came out,
Mr.
Tasha.
Kelly?
That's
Mr.
that's
Mr.
his whole thing.
Yeah,
Yep.
Mr. Perry, speak to the black man.
Yep.
Why are you talking to me? I feel
Mm-hmm.
like that's almost a sign of like, I don't know, no other race of men who spend all day telling, well, white women should do this, or Asian women should do this, or Mexican women should do this. They'll be talking to their dudes like, look, man, this is what we got to do. They talk
Get it
directly to the
together.
men. They don't talk to their women. We the only race where we're talking to women to help men. No, men help yourself. Man, iron sharpen iron. I don't know what it's like to be
Mm-hmm.
a man. I know how to tell a woman to get up, though. I can't tell a man how to get up. I can tell a woman how to get up. Go ahead, can you
Mm-hmm.
another comment?
No, that was it. That
I
was it.
personally believe that folks need to
Oh,
have.
Bobby said, I personally believe folks need to have a good term life insurance policy with the terminal illness rider to properly protect their families.
I agree.
And Alicia said he can't speak to the black man because he wasn't raised by one.
Oh shit! Now wait a minute, Alicia.
True that.
Hold on. But he still is a black man, though.
Mm-hmm.
I think black men got to get in the habit of talking to black men, speaking into their spirit.
Mm-hmm.
I love when
And
TV
even if he
breaks.
wasn't, and since he was not raised with one, he needs to connect with some so that he can get some better understanding of what his role is as a black man. So since he wasn't raised by one, he may need to get a circle of black men, to help him learn some other things than to sit around telling black men what we should and shouldn't be doing, how we act, what we should be. He needs to get on. Let the brothers know that.
Yeah, I'm just saying, speak to the black man, bro. I'm from
Mm-hmm.
old school. I think men should talk to men. Men should
Mm-hmm.
talk to boys. You know what I'm saying? Like, quit putting all this weight on the woman, and then act like this is what we should do. No, what should you be doing, sir? What you tell us? Tell us what the black man can do who's just paying the light bill. Are you going to tell him to get multiple streams of income? Or are you going to tell him to go collect cans? Because when I go to Home Depot in the morning, tomorrow morning, riding past it, it's going to be a lot of Latino brothers out there with their truck going for work so they can pay more than just the light bill. All right.
Tasha said that's part of the problem. Go find your daddy and figure out what happened. I'm not speaking to Tyler specifically as a whole. And she says we carry enough on our backs. It's
Hello.
true.
Not no grown ass man, too. Okay.
Real talk.
We wrapping this up. Y'all,
All
thank
right,
y'all so
y'all.
much for tuning in us tonight. Thanks, Sister Sonia, for coming in, giving us that political analysis and work. I loved it. I loved it. I love it. Another comment, Khadijah?
Alicia says right, but I'm sure he still needs to heal as far as seeing how the woman went through in his family. Yeah, he does. He does. I'm
I
sure he
don't
needs
know not
healing.
one black person who had not seen women in their family go through something. I'm just saying, as a black, there was a time, this is the honest God truth. There was a time where if I needed certain kind of advice, I would seek it out before I spoke on it. You know what I mean? There was old rules like stay out of grown men's face, stay out of grown folks' business. And I'm saying he's old enough now where I would love to see him do some movies where he tackled just that. Black men and their issues with just being raised by their mom and not knowing their dad. But what we got to stop doing is putting the responsibility of that on black women and girls. Because I have grown ass men who don't speak to their daughters and they say, well, she can call me. She's your daughter. You're the
Mm-hmm.
parent. You
Mm-hmm.
understand? So we got to stop that in our culture. It's really killing us. Because I'm going to tell you this, when it's over for the black woman, it's over for all of us. You can't even come here no
Real
more.
talk.
So,
Mm-hmm.
all right, Mr.
Tasha
Perry.
says, last comment, we wrapping this up. Tasha
Yeah.
says, then heal. The healing process does not include telling the black woman what to do, cannot be a part of that process. Just
Bam!
the fact that he think it's his part to tell us he's unhealed and needs to seek work.
Yeah. And he
Because
needs to
he'd be
go
too
maybe
busy
sit down on
healing.
the couch and talk to Medea.
Yeah, you know what? I can't. Alicia says exactly.
Yeah.
Hey,
Y'all,
thank y'all
thank
for tuning in. We'll be back next Sunday, 7 o'clock for Sunday Sitting with Sisters. We appreciate y'all. Have a great week. Be safe. Be blessed. Love on yourself.
I
And do
hollers.
something special do something special for yourself on purpose. Because you deserve it.